Hello, everybody. Oops. This is Isa, your host of the Bug Scope. And today hello, Frank. Hello, everybody. Come on in. Here's my new studio setup for now in Georgia. Still making some tweaks and adjustments from the move from Michigan to Georgia. Hope you are doing well and enjoying the turn of the seasons as summer transitions into fall. Unless you're in other parts of the world where maybe you're transitioning into spring, or maybe you're somewhere up north where there's not really a very clear transition and it just goes from summer to the cold. So, welcome. So today I wanted to share with you an exciting discovery that I came across when this was when I was still in Ann Arbor. So unfortunately, I'm not sharing it live. And I do try to share these discoveries when they're live, when possible. However, in this case, with these kidnapper ants, which we're talking about, there was so much mystery going on, and I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on while communicating with my friend Dr. Caitlin Baudier, who is a myrmecologist, studies ants, to figure out exactly what was going on. So I took a bunch of footage, and once again, because it was pretty hectic and I was trying to solve this mystery of what I was seeing, it's largely with my phone, not as much with my DSLR. So sorry about that, but it was still a really interesting find, and it all began when I was in Ann Arbor at ground level. And for this storytelling, I'm going to share, because for whatever reason, I can't really upload videos or photographs right to the Hap Studio and have them work in the Hap Studio from my phone for some reason. Doesn't really agree. I'm going to be sharing my screen to here. I'll be sharing my screen to share the video, the media footage. Wait, can I show me together? Yeah, like this, but the other way around. Okay. And I'll put the little bug scope symbol up there too. Okay. So it all began. I was inside the house looking outside, and this is the scene. This is where it all was noticed. And I'm sorry that there's not really much that you can really see here, but I think this is to show it's just like a typical northeastern USA sort of backyard / front yard setup. And I was eye level because I was in the lower basement-ish part of the house. And I looked outside and I saw the back and forth of ants across the sidewalk. And I was like, huh, they're carrying something in their mouth. What are they carrying? And my first thought is, oh, they must have found an apple that fell on the ground or some other sort of tasty snack. Maybe there's a dead animal out there that they are eating, like another dead insect or a dead mouse or something that they might have found that they're carrying. They're chomping apart with their mandibles and carrying back to their nest. So, because it was very consistent, you could see some going one way and other ones coming back from the direction that the other ones are walking towards. And in one direction, the ants were carrying something in their mouths. In the other direction, they were going empty-handed. So they were going somewhere, dropping whatever they're carrying off, and then coming back, it looks like, for more. So I'll show you what that looked like. So I went out there, took a closer look, and here, for some reason when I open it, it opens on my other screen. But here is what it sort of looked like. And I realized that that's very fast. So I can back up manually so we can look at that a little more slowly. You can see it's carrying something in its mouth. I have one other video to show so we can take another look at what is going on here. Here's the other one. And as I looked closer, I was like, oh my gosh, they are carrying ants. These are ants carrying ants. So here you can see in its mouth, oh, it's a little to the side. It paused right here during the video, but it paused and there's an ant tucked up in the mouth of this ant. Oh, this is slow motion, right? I got a slow motion video of it. So that's what we're watching now. Interesting. So I was wondering what was going on. My first thought was, haha, like there must be an ant war, perhaps. Maybe there's an ant war. And so I was trying to figure out what was going on, because sometimes when there's an ant war, let me play another video. This one too. Oh, this is for later on in the story. But what I can share is this photo right here. Yeah, this photo here. Hi everyone, welcome to the broadcast. So I'm not back in Ann Arbor right now, but I'm sharing a story from this past month in Ann Arbor. This mystery of kidnapper ants. So in this photo that I just pulled up, you can see the one ant has its jaws around this other ant. You can see the other ant's head sticking out and its jaws right there. And so my first thought in seeing ants carrying ants is, oh, like sometimes when ants are injured, they'll carry their fellow nestmates back to the nest and they'll have like a pile that they put their dead in, like a cemetery or something like that. But then I noticed one of them dropped the ant it was carrying. Well, first of all, I noticed that there were differences. It looked like multiple species. So I was like, okay, maybe there's a war going on. And I've video broadcasted on the Bug Scope in the past an ant war where you could see some sort of turf battle happening, and the two ants were like their ants were tearing each other apart and carrying each other and all sorts of different things. But I couldn't find the main hub of where this battle might be taking place. And also the ants seem to be going in one direction. So I started to follow them, and I went from that sidewalk that I showed you earlier I started following, I was in the yard, in the lawn, and then I kept on following the lawn. And it was a very slow and long process, but eventually following it led me to the curb, where I got a little bit lost. And yes, fuzzy faced dog saying hello over there on YouTube. The ants that were being carried were alive. And I knew that because one of the times when I tried to stop it to figure out what was going on and take a closer look, the ant in the jaws got loose and was completely alive, did not seem crippled in any way. And then the ant that was carrying that ant came over, folded the ant back up, grabbed it again, and kept on walking. It's like, it was amazing. And it was amazing how packaged the ants were. And so, yeah, so I reached out to Dr. Caitlin Baudier, who is a myrmecologist, a person who studies ants, who I met during my time in Philly. She was studying for a PhD at Drexel University. And, oh, thank you, Christian, for the monthly sponsorship. Awesome, thanks. So yeah, I folded up the ant. And hello, Ron, hope you're well. And hello, Pablo, as well. Thanks for the award. Yeah, so I took some pictures. I kidnapped the ants then to figure out what was going on and try to get an identification on these ants to figure out if they're the same species exactly, because sometimes there'll be variation, and I wanted to confirm. I was pretty sure they were different species, but I wasn't totally sure. So I will share with you the photos that I took. And these are photos I took using the Bug Scope. So thanks again, everybody who contributed to that GoFundMe campaign. And also who support me on Patreon and through awards here on haps, because that really was so helpful in helping me get the scope, which I used to take a picture of these ants. So the one on the left, the red ant with the black abdomen, is the one that was carrying this ant on the right. And look at the sizes. Like, you can see, you can compare the head capsules here. Here's the head capsule of this black ant, and then the head capsule of this red ant. And it's only a little bit bigger than this black ant. So it's pretty amazing how it was able, it's how it's controlling and carrying this other ant. So I sent these to Caitlin Baudier, Dr. Caitlin Baudier, to get a little information and figure out what species, what's going on here, because I've heard of kidnapper ants. I just never knew that they were right in my backyard. And I was like, what's going on? Like, are these invasive species? Is this normal? Like, what's the deal here? So I'm bringing up my conversation with Caitlin so I can share some of the details of how she was explaining what was going on. Because I called her up right away, like freaking out because it was super exciting. Okay, so she said that they're in the genus Formica, and they're both in the same ant genus. I don't know that we got down to species. The black one to her looked like Formica fusca, and the red one was harder for her to tell. What I can say too is that I had a run-in with these kidnapper ants, with these red ants. I already had been a little annoyed at them being in the yard and being on the sidewalk where they were because they bit me. And I'm not that used to ants biting me because up in the northeast of the USA, there are not a lot of ants that bite. And so when these ones bit, I was like, what the heck? Not nice. And then here they are kidnapping other ants. So troublemakers here. Frank is asking, do kidnapper ants write ransom notes? Yeah, so I will share that there's a lot that I don't know about kidnapper ants. And like, I know that it exists. I know that there's probably some variation in how it occurs. And a lot of it has to do with chemical communication. I know in some cases, the queen of the kidnapping species or colony will battle and kind of assume the chemical signals of the kidnapped ants. And then the kidnapped ants will respond and obey the colony that has taken them over and kidnapped them. I want to point out too, while we're looking at how these ants up, that this right here is right there, the pedicel is a characteristic in ants that really helps myrmecologists identify what an ant is, because that's like this joint, the segment between the thorax and the abdomen that can have different characteristics, different bumps and shapes and sizes. And so when I was photographing this to get an identification from Dr. Caitlin Baudier, I made sure to get that in the photo and to get a couple different angles so that she can help figure out this mystery in the backyard. Yeah, so they're multilingual. They're sneaky. They learn how to speak the language of the other ants chemically so that they can seamlessly and resistance-free sort of infiltrate their conscious, I suppose. I know, how dare they bite me, David? It was not nice. I was like, I'm just trying to walk just like you guys are, and they bit me. Okay, I'll share a couple other videos with you of them running through. It took, I was out here figuring out this mystery for like an hour. Let me see if I can make this larger. I'm trying to get footage of them running around. Oh, so here you go. This one looks like it's carrying one that looks just like it. So I'm not exactly sure what the variation is when it comes to like how variable the worker ants can be, or like in coloration and whatnot, but that was interesting to see. And some of them were carrying brood, and some of them were carrying the pupa or cocoons of ants. Yes, lots of clover in here. It was interesting. And then there are even, I got this photo too. But this is like kind of unrelated. This is a whole other uh little tiny ant. I forget what Caitlin said it was. What did Caitlin say it was? One sec. Caitlin said it was, oh, a formica and a little chromatogaster right next to her, biting her leg. So maybe that little chromatogaster. Hi Sherman, welcome. Good to have you here. I'll write the name of it here. Chromatogaster. I'll put it in a notifer. Chromatogaster biting the leg of Formica. Right. There. Putting this on the screen so you guys can get that ID. Hi, Bobby. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Thanks for the hug. Haps hug. Has the kidnapped... So, yeah, so in the past, they've been called ant slaves or slave species or slaver ants. But before and that's how I initially titled this broadcast when I saved the time or scheduled the broadcast. And then I was corrected by Sebastian, who saw the notification for it saying that there's a transition in entomology to call them kidnapper ants. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And so kidnapper ants they are. What do you guys think about that? So what's the main purpose of kidnapping? Asks James. And they're basically taking the ants and using them or getting them to do a lot of work for the sake of the colony. So when it comes to ants and even honeybees and other colonial insects and termites, for example, the whole entire colony is sort of like one organism, because there are a lot of like, because all the members except for the queen don't reproduce. So a lot of the workers, they're like our arm is to us in a way. Like, you can live without your arm and your life doesn't change. The genetic material you give to your offspring doesn't change if you lose your hand. But if you lose the queen, that kills the colony. That's the end of the organism. So in a way, kidnapping other ants, that's them getting extra arms, getting extra limbs, getting extra resources for defending the colony, and also for getting food, provisions, taking care of young. That's exactly what these ants end up doing. And here, I found, I'll skip to the chase a little bit and show you this one video. So I did follow them all the way to the location. So what I learned in the end, the mystery that I solved, was that they were moving. They were moving, and so they were probably bringing the kidnapped ants, the kidnapped help, along with them. And so here, when I followed their trail, it ended up here on the left side. Here you can see what the new nest was looking like, and I kind of rudely knocked on their door to see, scientific check to see who's home. And so when I knocked on their door, like, this is what it looked like. This is slow motion too. So at the first split second it was fast, and then it's now slow motion. And you can see both of the different ant colonies here working together to respond to me, the intruder, who came knocking on the door and trying to figure out what the threat is to the colony to solve that problem and make sure to protect the nest. So, yes. Yeah, kidnapping is slavery, basically. Yep. That's Christian. Bobby says, and hi, Heavenly, hope you're well. Good to have you here live. Bobby says, when I lived in Malawi, Africa, I saw my guards at the door eating flying ants. Wow, so cool. They fry them. Have you heard of it? Although Bobby was bitten by ants in the Caribbean and had huge lumps. Oh no, on your legs. They sting. Oh, sand ants? Yeah. Ants can be super brutal, and they all work together as a team, and teamwork makes the dream work, so they can get a lot done as a team. And they'll bite and sting. They'll bite to get a good grip and then reach their abdomen around and sting you while they're biting you. Sometimes. Depends on the species. Some are very harmless and chill, like carpenter ants, for example, which are large and really gentle ant giants. But yeah, so this is what it looked like. I'll play this video one more time when I knocked on their door. You can just see the chaos that ensues, freaking out to figure out what the threat is, which is me. But I wasn't going to do more than just check it out to get the information. But you can see like this one down here is like really running around, all frantic, trying to figure out what's going on. I don't know if I have a real-time video of that. Let me see. What's this video? I do have a video of how subdued the kidnapped ants are. So I did find some kidnapped ants just on the sidewalk. Is this it? I don't know if this is it. Let's see. Is this it? No, this is one running with an ant in its mouth. Slightly out of focus. I was trying to keep up to it, keep it in focus, but it's difficult when ants run so fast. So fast. Here, I'll skip ahead to see if it gets better in focus. A little bit at the end there, but this ant it's carrying looks very pale, like maybe it had just emerged from a cocoon. Ants go through complete metamorphosis like butterflies and moths do. So here are some of the subdued, like I found one spot where I think that some of the ants that didn't know where the new nest was for moving, I found these ones and they were just like very chill and just sitting there, maybe like awaiting orders or awaiting being carried to the new nest spot. It was really bizarre. Hi, Georgia. Oh no. So that was really weird to see these ones just like doing nothing, like being placed. They were like placed there and left by some of the kidnapper ants. And they were, I don't know, it's a sort of thing where ants work for their colonies. So if they don't have their colony, like present, they don't really have a purpose because they're not going to go like live their own life because they don't reproduce on their own. They rely on their colony. So that was really interesting to see. They were resting underneath a leaf. Let me see what this is. Here's sort of another example of that. So there's the one ant, that's one of the kidnapper ones that was running around. And one of the kidnapped ants was just kind of sitting there. Oh, here we go. I think this one came over. Is this? I think I got a video of one of them being folded up and carried away, but I'm not sure. Oh, a little bit. This one's getting a little defending itself a little bit there. You could see it rear up. I hope you guys can see this okay on your side. I know it's a very skinny view. Skip ahead. But that one ant's just, oh, here we go. Just kind of sitting there. So when they meet each other like that, they're touching each other's body and getting chemical signals from each other. Okay. I think I got a video of one being folded up, but let me see. Is that over here? Anyway, so it was really amazing to find this happening. And it was also kind of a coincidence because I was in the middle of the process of moving. And then I saw these ants that also were moving. They were moving to another property too. So I don't know, maybe like me mulching the yard disturbed them and gave them the signal that it's time to go find another place to live, or what. Here's another video. Let's see if this has anything in it. Oh yeah, here's one where you can clearly see it carrying one of the other ants. And its jaws. You can see how big it is compared to the ant that's carrying it too. It's amazing that they're able to pull this off. And it just kind of shows and signals or gives a hint into that there is something else at play when it comes to the chemical control, invisible. It's just such a fascinating situation. They're different species. The one is probably Formica fuscus, and then the other one is Formica, but ID is not not shored up. So these were in Ann Arbor, yeah. Let me see what this video was. So yeah, I wanted to share this because it was like really interesting mystery. Had no idea that kidnapper ants were in Michigan, let alone in Arbor, let alone my backyard. And it was total coincidence, total luck that I stumbled across it happening and witnessed the move. Like the move doesn't happen all the time. I happened to look outside at the time, got curious, went and investigated to see if I could figure out what was going on. I don't know. Oh, this is just the video of the one ant that had another ant holding on to it. This is unrelated to the kidnapping situation, but must have been some disagreement between these two ants because sometimes when an ant is angry or is trying to defend or something, it just grabs on and doesn't let go. And that's what's happening here with the one ant. Yeah, I think what I need to do is invite Dr. Caitlin Bonnier onto the Bug Scope so she can talk with us more about the ants. Whenever I talk with her, I'm just like more and more fascinated by ants. Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, I think Delosis is also a word that she was using for it, which I'm not super familiar with. But yeah, the whole situation was these ants were kidnapper ants and they were emigrating with their kidnapped colony. So I don't know if I have any other pictures or videos that like help show what's going on, but I think I showed a lot of what tells the story of these ants. Did I show this one already? I think I did show this one already, maybe. You can just see the little ant head popping out below the other ant's head. It just was so wild. So much wildness in your own backyard, so much to discover. So sorry the video quality isn't the best, but I was just trying to keep up with everything. So David's asking, does the kidnapping do damage to the other colony or can it survive the losses? Sometimes the kidnapping involves the death of the queen of the kidnapped colony. So oftentimes it does result in basically that colony being killed. So they are considered parasitic. The kidnapper ants are considered parasitic species, and let me get rid of this for now. They are considered parasitic species. It's just a unique situation because usually a parasite will invade its host and live there. In this case, they go and here's one that's carrying a cocoon up there at the top. This one's carrying the cocoon. But in this case, with kidnapping ants, they take the colony that they're parasitizing and they bring it to their own home and are able to control them in that situation. Yeah. So pretty wild. Question, were you guys aware of this situation, how ants do this before this broadcast? Curious to hear. It's something I was aware of, but like I said, never thought that I'd see in my backyard. So pretty wild. And for those of you who missed it, I'll share the picture I took with the scope. Oops, those are the jaws. Oops, you can't see it from there. So here's one of the kidnapped ants upside down. Actually kind of funny how you can see the condensation on its abdomen. That's from me putting it in the refrigerator to cool it down for the picture. So it's still alive here, just cooled down. And you can see its long antenna with the characteristic elbow in the middle, which is very characteristic for ants. And then in this side image, you can see part of what makes an ant and what you look out for when you do ant identification, which is this segment right in between the thorax and the abdomen. You can see how the sizes of the kidnapped ant and the kidnapper ant are pretty comparable too, which is rather amazing. So you're not, yes, happy to expand your world with this information. So keep an eye out for it. Yeah, I mean, once again, like I haven't encountered this before. And so I guess maybe I don't know how common it is to find. I'm sure if you're out there looking for it, maybe you can find it, but it was pretty interesting to come across. So that's what I have to share with you guys today. Georgia says, only hazily aware. Yeah. And David says, I'd heard of it, but never observed it. Don't know if any UK species do this. Yeah, now I'm just like, oh my gosh, like how common is this? And where in the world, like when these things happen, they're fun because they bring up so many other questions and I just want to get lost in the topic. But like I said, I think I'll reach out to Caitlin, Dr. Caitlin Baudier, and see if she'll join us so she can talk more about ants because they are fascinating. It's been a while since we've talked about ants on the broadcast too. So, how has the move gone? Asked David Dunn. Settled in? Yeah, for the most part, settled in. And Nikki here is doing well too. She's pretty settled in now as well, but she's like, why did you pick me up, Isa? But she's doing well. Getting used to it. Uh-oh, she's trying to end the broadcast. But yeah, thank you. Getting settled and hoping to connect with some entomologists in the area here while I am here. And it's been interesting finding some insects that you don't see up in Michigan as well, like that spiny orb weaver that I shared last week. So yeah, giant bug cat. So yeah, the insects all made it except for my peppered cockroaches got lost in the flurry of exiting the house, which I'm really sad about because I had that colony for 10 years. And so I don't know what happened, but yeah, there's Nika who wants to go right back to curling up into a little fluff ball. And yeah, hope you guys are all doing well. That's all I have for you today. For anyone who has heard about my class that I'm teaching for Atlas Obscura, it's still possible to sign up if you want to sign up. I'm happy to share that I have 85 students in that class, so it's been great sharing, collecting with my students there. And so that's been a lot of fun too. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out and exploring Georgia's nature places because with settling in, I haven't really gone like exploring yet. So if anyone has recommendations of places to go in Georgia, please let me know. I am ears. Yes. Atlas Obscura. Which is also online for free too. What's in here is online too. They're coming out with a new book called Gastro Obscura, which I don't know much about the book, but I'm expecting that they probably have some entomophagy in there. So looking forward to seeing that. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go. Thanks, guys, for joining and hearing the story of the kidnapper ants. Thanks for the super heart. And I see Frank said there's one species in Europe, but it's only in the south where it's warmer. Cool. Yeah. I guess your ants are safe, Frank, which is nice for them. Safe from being raided and invaded. It's a wild world out there in the ant world. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good day. And thanks for popping by. And find a cool bug this weekend. See ya. End it with my bug scope.